Welcome to the Warren Cycling Podcast. My name is Dean Warren. I'm in Frankfurt, Germany today.
I'm Randy Warren, and I'm in Asheville, North Carolina. Catching
Yeah.
me between trips. Catching you on a trip, but maybe
On a
maybe
trip,
between
yeah.
trips.
But I've been flying to Frankfurt for like over 32 years. And it's the
Wow.
first time I'm staying right in Frankfurt. I've always stayed outside of Frankfurt.
Oh, okay.
Mainz, Wiesbaden, other towns. First time right in Frankfurt. Actually, I can see downtown Frankfurt right out my window. I can see a nice bike lane. I've been in Frankfurt for the end of the Eschborn Frankfurt one-day race on May 1st a couple of times. It's nice to come in then because they close off all the roads. So there's no traffic. But I think it's the street that we're on, and it looked right outside the hotel where I'm staying, is the place where I couldn't unclip because my cleat had come loose. And I tried to grab this rail because I saw the rail there, and I fell and I landed on my hip. And then it was kind of sore for a while. So
How long ago was that?
May 1st at this year's race, yeah. So, but
it's not up to you where you stay. It's a hotel that the airlines set.
That's right. Yeah. Well, we switched to a different hotel for some reason. We switched like this 1 week to stay in Frankfurt. So I don't know why, but
this week.
Just like a week, like they're overbooked or something or ahead of time or something. I don't know. But I took the train to the hotel because that's where my bike is. So I could go ride because that's why I swapped onto this trip from a Munich trip so I could go ride my bike. And then we weren't even staying in the hotel. So I took the train. So we landed late. Got changed, took the train, got my bike, rode 3.5 hours, had a nice ride, took the train back, and now I'm tired.
So you parked the bike. Is this where you parked the bike outside?
No. This one's in the hotel. It's in their
in the normal hotel,
storage
not the
room.
hotel you're staying now.
No, that's the one in Munich's the one that's outside, still there, and I'll take it and maybe I'll fix it up someday or not at all. But anyway, it's good to always get a ride in.
What bike do you have now? What bike do you have today? What did you buy? What's your bike you're riding today?
It's a Specialized Epic road bike. Specialized Epic, one of the first carbon fiber bikes Specialized made. So some 90s series. Lugged, yeah.
Aluminum lugs or carbon lugs?
Nah, probably aluminum. They started out that way, didn't they? Yeah.
A lot of times,
putting carbon tubes.
Like that. Yeah. Track, I think, originally.
But I've got SRAM 10-speed, SRAM Force, I think, shifter. So not bad. That's good. It's a good bike, yeah. So well, the Vuelta Espana is going on, and we'll talk about that. But looking at the picture, right behind me, this picture of the EF Education team time trial. You can see a little bit of it there with the Sagrada Familia Cathedral behind it. It was pretty cool course they did going by some of the sites, but unfortunately it rained and then it got dark, and so you couldn't enjoy the course so much. But
it seems like maybe people could, but it seems like every year they seem like, and I'm sure they don't do this, but it seems like every year they do a team time trial in the dark because there's huge crowds of fans. I mean, basically everybody sleeps till like 6 or 7, right? Then they get out and they have dinner and stuff like that in Spain. Isn't that how that works? And so
they usually have dinner late, but they don't sleep all day like that.
Well, businesses are closed and stuff, though, I think so. But anyway, so I'm not sure why they have it late, but I think that's why they have it so late. But it seems like every year they have it late. It's in the dark, and a lot of times it rains, and every year they complain. Maybe not. It's every other year, every third year or something. But it seems like this is nothing new. And again, they had huge problems, not even just in the race, right? But I heard that when they had to ride from the finish back to the team buses, it was pitch black. They didn't have any support, and it was trouble. People had trouble finding their way back even to get back to the team buses.
Yeah, the start and the finish were quite a ways apart. I think maybe one of the reasons they wanted to start later because it was been really hot. It's just super hot, and so it cooled off a little bit.
I saw something what Larry Warbasse said. It was colder than rain. Or no, I thought it was for sure rainy. He said he'd ridden in the rain more days this year than he thought he ever had in his career. But I thought that it was.
It hadn't rained at all until that night in Barcelona. So,
but he's ridden in the rain though. He said this whole year. Yeah.
Right. Well, the Giro. He did the Giro, and the Giro was really rainy.
And chilly.
That too. Yeah.
But when we went to Andorra, the stage of Andorra, it was chilly up there, wasn't it? apparently Sepp Kuss doesn't live there anymore. So he knew the roads from when he lived there.
I think he still lives there. I don't know. Maybe he splits times with his. I don't know where he got married, so he and his wife. I don't know if they got a place. She's Spanish, I believe.
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, we're just speculating a whole bunch of stuff. Commenting on what we saw, though, I did enjoy.
You talked to Sepp for a minute?
No, I didn't talk to Sepp. It was hard to get to the Jumbo Visma anywhere close to their setup because they had big tents and fans and stuff set up. And I saw them go out on their recon ride and then come back, and then they went in their bus, and then they were going to get on their warm up later. Maybe I could have grabbed them then, but I waited a long time. I thought, no, I need to get going doing something else because I could wait a long time and get nothing. And I already had talked to Joe Dombrowski, and he gave a great interview, which maybe we should just do the interviews right away.
Sure.
Maybe no one else wants to listen to the rest of us talking.
But maybe they would listen to us anyway, though, in anticipation for the. Oh no. So.
Yeah, well,
that's fine. We can.
Joe Dombrowski writing for Astana, and I talked to him a long time ago in Colorado, I think, or California maybe, when he was on Bontrager and development. They just had
Bontrager. That's the junior development, not junior, but
before it became before the Higgins Berman. But they just had like a camper and lawn chair sitting out, and now he's been riding multiple Grand Tours and had a distinguished career, and he's had a Grand Tour stage win to his name. So, and he always looked very young, and he still looks young, but he's definitely aged now. So he's in his early 30s, I believe. But I talked to Larry Warbasse shortly as well. I wanted to talk to Sean Quinn, but EF Education, they're always a little trickier to talk to. They seem more controlled and want to make sure everything's the way they want it to be. And so
it's a little weird to me too, because it seems like they're loose, and more, not quite as uptight team, but maybe not the organization wise.
Yeah. So they want to keep control of everything more, but they thought they were too focused on the team time trial for him to come out and talk a few minutes. So maybe we'll talk to him later. Hopefully he'll have a good tour and make it all the way. First Grand Tour for Sean Quinn. Yeah, I talked to Joe. So let's do Joe first. Joe and then Larry. So you
talked to Sean Quinn though?
No. I wanted to talk to Sean. EF Education wouldn't let me. So.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah. All right.
Does he have a sister though? In the tour, the Avenir Feminines, there's a Quinn who's racing for America.
Oh really?
Yeah. Maya Schmidt, Catherine Serkisov, Betty Haas, Natalie Quinn.
I don't know. Pro Cycling Stats usually put siblings on there.
Yeah, she's 21 years old. Don't see siblings on there.
No. But there's been some good Quinns coming out between Quinn Simmons and Sean Quinn, which I remember they were both racing at Redlands a few years ago, doing very well. And not too confusing, but still, one's last name Quinn, one first name Quinn. Yeah.
If you combine their names, it could be Quinn. Or Sean Simmons, but
no. All right. This is Joe talking about lots of things about him doing another Grand Tour and the team time trial and what he might be looking for this year's Vuelta. Okay, Joe Dombrowski. Wow, how many Grand Tours does this make now?
I think it's my 5th Vuelta. And I believe it is I've done 8 Giro, 1 Tour, 5 13. I think it's 13.
Lucky 13.
It's either 14 or 13.
Yeah,
there was one I didn't finish.
It's a lot when you start to lose track, huh?
Yeah.
Well, tell me what makes the Vuelta maybe different than the other Grand Tours. It seemed like the Giro was maybe your first love of Grand Tours, perhaps. Is that fair to say? Like that's where you got your big wins, I think.
Yeah, I think so. All the Grand Tours have kind of a different flavor. The Giro, it's the first one of the year. the weather can be a little bit more of a factor. I mean, this year especially, it was really pretty awful. Maybe a little bit less controlled than the Tour. The Tour's probably a little bit more scripted in how the stages play out. And then, the Vuelta, last one, and tends to be a little bit shorter stages, and the racing is pretty fast because it's a lot of times we're riding on bigger roads here, in terms of like the width, and so while the breakaway is being established, if you're on a highway, you're clipping along at more than 50k an hour a lot of times. It's, punchy, short finishes. And I guess I enjoy all of them, but, for different aspects of the different races.
What do you like best about the Vuelta then?
I would say that in general, it's probably the most relaxed Grand Tour. Some of that may be a product of where it is in the calendar. It's later in the year, and you maybe don't feel that same tension or stress as you do in those early races in February. Usually the weather's good. Fingers crossed, but a lot of time I've done the Vuelta a few times where, you just wear a short sleeve jersey and shorts and you don't ever have to think about it because it's just hot. So I don't love racing in the really hot conditions, but if I had to choose between that and what the Giro was earlier this year, I'd probably take the hot.
Yeah, I was going to ask you what you preferred as far as weather. What's your ideal weather condition? Then, like perfect, 60s Fahrenheit?
Yeah, the Giro, if it doesn't rain, is usually pretty nice. Where it gets a bit sketchy is like you get into the mountains, the second and third week, and in May, if you're up over 2,000 meters, the weather can be questionable. So.
Okay, this year's Tour, it seemed like in the breakaways that there were not token breakaways with the teams that are just trying to get their sponsorship. It seemed like every breakaway was hard-fought and top-notch riders that you recognize. It weren't the guys that are just showing their colors. Do you think it'll be similar maybe at the Vuelta this year, or do you think it'll be more scripted like normal, where the Spanish teams will get out there?
I think in general that the fight for the breakaway has been more than what it has been in years past. I'm not sure exactly why that is. I think some of it is that the big teams, Jumbo or Ineos, they don't seem to show a lot of interest in winning the stage that often when it's not it may still be a GC day, but they're not necessarily going to spend the energy to bring the breakaway back. And really then the race splits into two different races. When good riders see that the best teams don't have a big interest to control in the start, then there tends to be a big war because, if you can win a Grand Tour stage, it's worth a lot. So that's been a little bit of an evolution. And I think that's going to continue.
Sure. Tell me about your goals for this Vuelta. Can you expound on what you're looking to get out of it? What maybe specific stages, perhaps? Ingerlu, is that something for you?
Yeah, if you can get in the breakaway, it's again like you don't know, who's going to control and what the situation will be. But I think the aim would be to try and fight to win a stage here, and kind of take it day by day and circle your days that suit you, and then be aggressive in the start, try and be in the break, and see what happens.
How are you as the Grand Tours go on into the third week? Do you feel like you're someone that's getting stronger, or are you battling fatigue more than?
Generally, I feel pretty strong in the third week. I don't know that it's a case of getting stronger as much as maybe you have less degradation. The racing's definitely a lot less punchy in the third week, which is more suited to me. And in general, if you ask me, I would definitely prefer the last week to the first.
Sure. Okay, one last question about today. Team time trial through the streets of Barcelona. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, we're actually going to go look at the course now. I've looked at it on VeloViewer, but I haven't seen it in person. So, a course like this, really, until you see it in person, it's hard to say how. There's a lot of corners. So in theory, it's technical, but, if you're on these kind of large avenues through the city, whether it's barricaded so that it's one lane versus if it's 3 or 4 lanes wide, makes a big difference in how you can take the corners. And in a team time trial, not cutting the group when you're coming back through the corners, and also keeping the team together, because even the guy that's maybe 7th or 8th in line, coming out of the corner, that kind of elastic effect can really hurt. So I think, we'll ride it and see how it looks, and
Looks like maybe the thunderstorms won't be till later after today.
I hope
you guys
so.
Still keep, no matter rainy.
Yeah,
city.
I mean, I think a technical city team time trial in the rain would be a little bit sketchy. I mean, especially, I don't think this time of year in this part of the world that there's a lot of rain. So when it does rain, it gets pretty slippery. The roads can have a lot of oil on them, and it seems like it's going to be dry, but I mean, we'll see.
All right. Thank you, Joe.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
It. All right.
Have a good one.
You too.
Well, at that time I talked to him, weather forecast was looking like it might hold out without the raining, but sure enough, it just started raining right at the beginning, and they were even slipping on the start ramp. They were trying to sweep it off, and they were slipping, going down. And of course, the worst slipping and crashes was Ineos lost Lawrence de Plus, and Jaco Alula lost. I mean, they had the most guys falling down, but it wasn't until I think yesterday they lost a couple of guys now, and we're in this through stage 5. So
today too, Well, Joe lost 50 seconds that first day too, so he must have gotten gapped at some point, or slipped and slid or something happened to him that first day.
Yeah. So there was.
I think Lawrence de Plus was the only DNF, and he crashed, I think, within the first kilometer of the race, right? So
I walked the first couple kilometers. There weren't. I mean, of course there were some turns in that, and they didn't have it barricaded that wide, so they didn't have a lot of space. But it looked like the teams were all pretty much taking it pretty carefully, and so they weren't really going all out where you could see them. I don't know. It seemed like
almost every team had people losing time, either from one person up to 3 people. So Caja, they did not have anybody gapped at all. And wow, I'm looking for any other team that maybe didn't have somebody. Nope, nobody else. Every other team had at least one person lose time, and most teams had 2 or 3 people lose time. So, and sometimes that's a little bit of a calculated thing, because you figure you use those guys early on, and then like Joe was saying, if you're the 7th guy, even sometimes you get that elastic effect too, and so it makes sense to be if you have a team leader to try and make sure that they maximize their time, and maybe you might drop some guys then too. But a lot of those guys might have been slipping and sliding too, and making it harder for them to get back on.
It was the 5th guy across the line, right? I think it was the 5th guy. But Movistar, they were at the first 2 guys that crossed, and been them, they would have won the team time trial, but there was a little gap between the 3rd, 4th, and 5th guy, and so then they
finished in the same time as DSM.
It was just like fractions of a second.
Fractions of a second, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
So because on the just pro cycling stats, it shows them in exactly the same time, so 17:30. And then the next teams, EF, Soudal, and Groupama, they were all 3 in 17:36. So.
But it was Jumbo that lost the most time because Jonas flatted, and they waited for him, of course. Yeah. So,
but they still did okay. I mean, they were 32 seconds down. It wasn't like horrible. They flatted right towards the end, right?
Yeah, it was pretty close to the end.
Yeah, Gesink and Van Barl they lost 45 seconds, so they came in together. But it's a little tough too. You think that, I mean, so Evenepoel complained a lot, about what the situation was. But
I didn't mind him complaining. I think it was justified. I know. But he was saying like, I'm going to take heat for this, for complaining. People are there's going to be haters. But I was like, no, everything you said was true and right. I who's gonna like you just speaking your mind. I mean, I've kind of I'm warming a little more to Evenepoel, although when I saw his victory celebration, I like Tadej Pogacar always seems, and even Roglic, when they win a race, they like, they're smiling when Evenepoel had like this frown, like, and beat his chest, or then he crashed. So,
yeah, I mean, that made fight crash. He was like, no, I'm not sure. Yeah.
Yeah, like, but anyway,
he may not want to feel like it's boasting too much too, at the same time, and he's won a ton, especially as a junior. He won every race he did pretty much. So, yeah, maybe he doesn't take as much pure joy. Like Pogacar always says, he just loves winning. Roglic always says he just loves winning. That's like that's the pure joy of winning. Maybe Evenepoel feels like he's just taking care of business. It doesn't give him that.
But when he's on the podium, he's all smiles and really enjoying that podium time. So, but he's maturing, and I think he's a guy that could be really a patron of the peloton that we haven't really had in a long time, as he even gets more experience to really be the voice to control, maybe like they haven't had since a Bernardino kind of guy. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, Jonas tried to slow down the group the other day after.
Roglic had trouble, right?
No, it was rope. I thought someone else had crashed.
It was just Sippets, but they were trying to slow down the field. But DSM was trying to defend the jersey, so. And it's interesting too, because Lorenzo Malesi was the first guy across the line. Their team leader, Roman Bardet, was second across the line. But Movistar, Enric Mas was the first guy. EF Education was Hugh Carthy was the first guy. Suyal was Remco Evenepoel. So most of the guys had their first, their team leader across the line first from the team time trial. But DSM did not do that. And then
he had just won the U23 time trial, so he's.
Okay, he's a strong rider. He had, it was something. He was off the back in the stage 2 then. So but it was was it Chris Hamilton who took the jersey then from there? Oh no, it was actually EF. From EF because they took the time at 9 kilometers to go, and apparently they said they asked fans. I saw something where they said that the officials were looking at fans' video cameras on their phone, videotape, video of at the 9 kilometer spot. To determine the placings there at the so
the organization just doesn't seem to be like top notch. I mean, logistically where they started the team time trial, like there was the distance to the finish, but just the media room. I was on foot. I didn't have a bike. I walked, or a car either. I walked to the media center to get my credential, which was like in this big sports hall, really huge hall, and it seemed really empty. They had everything set up, but then it was a bit of a walk to get to the start area, and it was like I kind of walk back here to go back to the media room to do anything else later on. It was just kind of far away and not very convenient. So.
And they do the interviews now, post-race interviews on remotely too, right? They don't even do them in the same room. They still have COVID concerns.
They did have some COVID concerns because when I went into the team area to do the interviews, the guy saw my credentials, asked if I had a mask. And so I put on my mask. I sounded a little muffled, but I was pretty much the only one wearing a mask. The only other people I saw wearing a mask were some of the Jumbo people. They have their own, they had Jumbo shirts on, but there were guys that were doing some filming and video stuff for them, for the team, like in-house probably stuff. But I saw a couple of Jumbo
another
people
Netflix documentary, maybe.
Jumbo people wearing some masks, but otherwise everybody else around wasn't wearing a mask. But I wore mine just to be safe. I mean, I came from a plane. Who knows what contact I had? So it's the beginning of the race.
And certainly there's a huge influx of COVID cases right now. It's still some more hospitalizations, but not overwhelming. But still, a lot of people are getting COVID.
Right. Well, I did.
But not one person in the Tour did, though, right? I mean, obviously Remco got it in the Giro, so he was out of the Giro because of COVID. Not one person in the Tour, so they did a good job with the protocols there. Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens here. So, I talked to Larry then afterwards, and you can hear. Oh, I mentioned it talking to Larry that he does do interviews and talks. Actually, he's got like a segment with the cycling podcast. So if you want to hear more, but I mentioned that in the interview too when I talked to him. So that's what Larry Warbasse had to say too, because it was interesting. I hadn't heard of him having a contract yet for next year, and it's a big race for him to maybe get one. But he just listen to what he says.
All right. Team time trial day beginning Vuelta. It's kind of exciting right before a race like this. Everything's open, right? All the possibilities, huh?
Yeah, for sure. No, it's going to be, hopefully a good 3 weeks. So, start off with a cool TTT here in downtown Barcelona. So that's cool. And then, it really begins from tomorrow too. So, it should be good.
Tell me about your personal goals. You're still looking for something for next year, right?
It should be. I'm good for next year, but it just hasn't been announced yet, so we'll see.
Okay. So you're not going to have to win a stage like to really.
I mean, I'd like to. That's the goal. Yeah,
Your job's not riding on it for next year or anything.
No. Yeah. So I'd really like to. Thank you. I'd like to, get in some breakaways and. We'll see what happens. So I think we have a team here for hunting stages and. Yeah, we have a nice group, so I think we'll all be aggressive, and the goal is for, one of us to hopefully win the stage by the end.
Yeah, I was talking to Joe a little bit ago, because at the Tour this year, it seemed like to get into breakaway was not an easy task. It wasn't just the token guys that are going to sit out there and give their sponsors some TV time. It was really top-notch people every day.
Yeah.
Do you think, I was asking him, do you think that's more of a trend now? Will it be like this at the Vuelta, perhaps?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think now... with all the few guys who are such a level above the rest, if you're not one of these 3, 4, 5 guys, it's nearly impossible to win out of the bunch. So if you're not a sprinter and then you're not one of the 4 best climbers, it's unlikely you're going to win a stage. So everyone else then has to look at the breakaway to win a stage. So I think that's what we've seen a lot more in cycling lately is, now you see everyone fighting for the break, not just like a few guys anymore.
All right. Okay, you are going to be talking, I know, on the cycling podcast.
Yeah.
They've got you as one of their best American riders to talk to. They're still racing because I know that Ian Boswell has done a lot with them.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do special in this race so you come up with good material to talk to them?
I think the thing is just being in the race, there's a lot of good material that happens. So you can just, I guess, talk about everything that happens in the day because, cycling's a crazy sport. And, there's a lot of stuff that happens in the peloton every day that's, pretty funny and some good stories. So, I don't think I'll have to go searching for it.
No, okay. Yeah. All right. Thanks, Larry.
No worries.
Have fun today.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Larry Warbasse, Age de Jour, who already got a little bit of success with the holding the points jersey after, I think, stage 2.
Oh, did he? I didn't notice that. Oh.
Not Larry. Teammate, Age de Jour.
Age de Jour. Okay.
Yeah. No. Yeah. So, I hope we'll see Larry get into a break later on. I think maybe like Joe, he'll have an opportunity when riders are getting more fatigued. I think this first week, everybody's pretty on form, and so far my theory or the question I asked about tough getting into the break, top-notch riders isn't holding so far. I mean, we had a couple of stages that we knew were probably going to end in sprints, and so we had some riders out front who were just from the Spanish teams showing their team colors and not anyone that was going to really have much of a chance to fight for the stage win.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, that's the formula usually and that's actually an expectation of the wildcard teams. If you're a Spanish team getting a wildcard invitation in the Volta, or same thing for the Giro and an Italian team or the French team in Tour de France, it's an expectation that your team rides very aggressively, that they do put people in the brakes, that they do liven up the race some with because they really want a break to be off the TV producers and the organizers want a lot of breaks to be off the front for a long time because it's much less exciting to have just the whole peloton rolling around together. And so that certainly animates the race. And so if they don't have someone doing that, then it definitely changes the complexity of the race. But like you said, the Tour this year, those riders didn't have as much of an opportunity too. And so I'm guessing that their sponsors and even the organizers are probably saying, come on guys, you got to get the breaks. They're like, we're trying, it's super hard. But yeah, so I think that, it is an expectation, and they're fulfilling kind of their responsibility.
Right. Well, Lotto Destiny. I always have to think of the names because they changed. Because it's Soudal Quickstep now. It's not Lotto. Anyway, Lotto Destiny didn't have such a good tour, but they already got a stage win. Andreas Krohn, who, I mean, he got a stage win after the neutralized GC part of the race, but he still had to attack and stay off the front. But then also Sepulveda is holding the climber's jersey. He was in the break, so yeah, I see BH out a lot. I don't know, Caja Ruel's been in the breaks, but it was Piccolo though, Andres Piccolo for EF Education getting in the break on stage 2, which he was able to then, since EF Education was so close in the team time trial, take over the leader's jersey for a day. But then they already had a finish, uphill finish, and I don't know. Everybody's fresh. It was a headwind, so it wasn't really much of a big chance. Sepp got a little chance to go off the front attack and see what would happen, but he was unfortunately brought back. Ayuso was trying to get off the front, but it came in.
He chased after Ayuso first to pull him back, and then when Ayuso got brought back, then he said he tried his own hand at it too. To see.
Yeah.
But yeah, right. Yeah. The headwind has kind of neutralized things, so.
Sure. And then,
but he was very active though on that finish.
Right. The group coming though in with a couple of turns, it was able to pull that made the first move and really got in the pole position. And it was, I think, more difficult, but he showed that he's in great shape now. And Roglic wasn't up there where he's usually good for those punchy finishes. Jonas was the closest to follow, so we all don't know really what his form's going to be like, because he didn't really do a lot after the tour to prepare for this race, seemingly, but we'll find out later. I think the Tourmalet stage is going to be really maybe the big deciding stage, which is the only one that has a really long climbs. Tomorrow, stage 6 will be an uphill finish, so could be more gaps. Ineos, they suffered on that first stage 3 uphill finish with Geraint Thomas not having good legs going up, and Amundsen losing time as well. Yeah, so
Geraint lost about 12 seconds or so, enough seconds that, and he said they didn't feel good too. He said he felt fine the whole stage until the last climb, and they just didn't have the legs. So
right,
and he's been riding great all year too. So you think that that being 36 or 37,
37, wow.
37, yeah. It wouldn't be so, but he's planning to race next year too, and not just as a pack filler too. He wants to continue to compete at the highest level, and so having problems so far this year, or in this race rather,
he almost won the Giro this year.
Yeah, he was right there at the last stage. So yeah,
right. So yeah, we'll see a little bit more tomorrow, maybe with the uphill finish. Enric Mas is looking pretty good so far. I think Jan Uiterbrooks, he's been up there, the other young Belgian for Bora-Hansgrohe. So, but Caden Groves so far is pretty much dominating the fast sprints, finishers. Yeah, the sprints. Although Filippo Ganna, using his powerful track form or time trial form, went early to give Caden a good run for the line today. So, but earlier, Remco is doing also maybe more what, like, I don't know, Tadej Pogacar would do, is picking up bonus sprints. Yeah.
So he's a total of 16 total seconds. Well, 6 seconds today. Okay.
Yeah, he went from leading by 5 to 11 now. Yeah.
Yeah, and because he had 10 seconds for his win, and then 6 seconds. Yeah, for this. Yeah, so he's got by far the most bonus points. So Jonas Vingegaard has got 6 seconds, and then Ayuso's got 4, but the Caruso's got 4. But that's about it for the guys who are up anywhere near the front getting bonus seconds.
Right. Well, Caruso was in the breakaway, wasn't he? I think the other day.
I'm not sure where he got his seconds or not too, but he had 4 seconds in that. So yeah.
Right. Well, a lot to go with the Vuelta, and it's interesting too. Joe said not necessarily getting stronger into the third week, but not as fatigued.
Yeah. I mean, some people, they say they build fitness through it, and I guess it depends too. If you're if you come in a little bit off and you're a Grand Tour contender, for the overall, then maybe you do build a little fitness through it. But yeah, most people are not going to get necessarily stronger, but you just relative to your competition, you might, but not purely stronger. You're just fatigued. It's be awful hard to get actually physically stronger at the end of it than the beginning. So yeah, but a lot of guys get more fatigued than others, and some recover better than others, and so that's what makes a 3-week race really intriguing too. Because I mean, even like the Tour de l'Avenir, Riccatello, it was doing great up to the last day, and he kind of cracked. So it's like if it was one day
second
shorter,
last day he lost a little bit of time. He wasn't.
He gained time and lost time. He gained time in the morning, the time trial, lost time in the afternoon. So yeah, but overall he gained more time than he lost in that stage. So, but it was, if it was one day shorter, he probably would have won the overall. So that extra time.
Tour de l'Avenir. So Tour of the Future. It was 8 stages. But 9 stages, because there was stage 7A and 7B, split stage on the Saturday with the uphill time trial, which he crushed. I mean, he won by like a minute, 40 seconds, 50 a minute. He won a lot. Riccatello, he was really great, and he didn't get a lot of help from his teammate because of the last day they had a big climb midway in the middle, and he didn't have anybody helping him, and he's already gapped and. He was a couple of minutes behind, so
the winning break went. So Del Toro went at the
Mexican rider, which we've had.
He went over the order category climb, and then a couple guys joined him, and then Riccatello wasn't able to go with that, and that's at first it was a small gap. If he would have been able to go with them in that one move there, he would have probably won, because then he ended up having to do most of the work, and people were attacking him, and he ran out of water or fluids, and he went back for the vehicle. When he went back for the vehicle, more guys attacked him. It was really tough towards the end for him, But he rode a great race, and he was second place, he was in fourth place overall. So he was, it was great to see the U.S. doing so well. It was Adrian Costa, I think it was last time we had somebody up that high in the finish.
I think he was second.
Yeah, I think he was second, and we thought for sure he was going to be. He was 19, I think, at the time, and he ended up giving up cycling, and then he had a rock climbing incident where he had to cut off his leg in order to get escape from some boulders. So.
Right.
So anyway, but he was. I think he was really young, and I think it was. But Riccatello was on Israel Primatech. He's racing big races already and stuff too.
He raced the Giro and had one of the fastest times up the time trial climb.
Yeah, I think he was going. So. Yeah. So he's definitely a quality racer, getting better all the time, and this definitely helps that too. So Del Toro though was the first Mexican ever to win the Tour de l'Avenir.
He's like 19, right?
19, yeah.
Yeah, and the World Tour teams are lining up to sign him. So I wonder what's going to happen.
Yeah,
where he'll land.
For sure. Yeah, and he rode consistent, so he had a lot of consistent finishes, throughout the whole thing.
Yeah, he won the uphill stage that Riccatello was second on.
He swept the jerseys too. He was first in youth classification, mountains, points, and GC, and then the stage
youth classification for under 23.
Yeah, I'm not sure who gets it. Yeah, the under maybe it's under I don't know, maybe it's under 20 because he said he's 19.
Maybe
he doesn't turn 20 until November 27th. But yeah, and his stage finishes were second, third, first, ninth, second, and then their team time trial they were 23rd. They didn't do very well as a team.
Oh yeah,
Mexico.
U.S. didn't do so well either. Where they were like 15th or 14th.
Yeah, and then the first 2 stages they were 68 and 36. So after the team time trial in stage 3, stage 4 on up, he was in the top 10, and only the 9th in stage 5. Otherwise, he was in the top 3. So he was amazingly consistent as he kept going on.
Yeah, I was hoping Luca Lamperti might have a good stage finish, but
yeah, I didn't follow closely most of the stages, but it seemed like if there was a sprint finish stage, he certainly got an amazing finish, not just in a pure sprint, but positioning and tactical knowledge, and he just does a really good job. So, yeah, I thought he would have maybe, had something too. But then again, maybe because Rick Tully was doing so well, everybody was devoted to helping him do well, and so you might be burning matches like crazy at the beginning just to go get bottles or break the wind or close gaps or who knows what, to be able to see what they can do to help him, and that might then sacrifice their personal ambitions.
So well, I guess if we're talking about maybe some of the other races that went on since we talked last, which I was looking at what's coming up still, and there's really only just, as far as World Tour races, some 1 days left of the season. I think having the World Championships earlier kind of makes the Lombardia coming up in October is going to be a big race. The Canadian races are big. I mean, we've got the Maryland Classic in the U.S., but it's not a World Tour race.
I noticed so Nibali, Vincenzo's brother, Antonio, is still racing. He's only 30 years old. He's younger than I thought he was. So, but he's expected to be in Maryland. But I was surprised he was only 30. So
yeah, still racing. Like other races going on, like the Tour of Bulgaria, Tour of Iran. Yeah, but there's a women's Tour of l'Avenir, which I didn't know. Look, Fen Van Empel won today, so she's amazing cyclocrosser. Another strong Dutch woman. She's won the stage today. But we've got
an American team in that too. So there's definitely
riders that I haven't heard of though.
Well, Mara Schmidt, so she's in there.
Okay, except for Mara Schmidt.
Yeah, and then Quinn. Well, again, Quinn, it's on the team too. We mentioned a few of the names before too, but yeah. So Sarah Kozoff, Natalie Quinn, Olivia Cummins. So, and again, it's supposed to be for people that are younger too, or it has to be for people that are younger. Betty Haas, I think that's it. So, The
Renewed Tour. Did you see about much of the Renewed? I thought Renewed Tour, but that used to be the Aneco Tour. I think the Benelux Tour, but that Sam Wilford won the last stage. But it was it Tim Wellens that won the overall?
I don't know. I didn't see anything about the tour.
Did you see that one? Yeah, Tim Wellens won the overall there. Pretty big names. UAE, another win for UAE. But the Vuelta is going to be dominating the next couple weeks. And we didn't mention, though, the picture you have behind you was Master. We talked before on our last podcast, you going to Masters Nationals, but only part of it, because then you had to go win a gravel race, right? Because your focus is more on gravel racing now.
Yeah, and I was thinking, today I was actually realizing that was my only gravel win this year so far. I was second place at the first Southeast Gravel because I dropped my chain, and so I ended up second in that one. And then I was DNF at Unbound, and I was third at Coast to Coast, and I was second at the World Championship qualifier. So this was my first win on the gravel this year. So I was happy to get a win. Yeah, and then the next race for me in gravel will be not this coming weekend, but the next weekend in Nebraska, Gearing, Nebraska, for the national championships. And then after that, I'll be going to Italy. Not sure where in Italy, but to do the World Championships. But the promoter lost the rights to the World Championship gravel race in Italy, and now they're awarding it to somebody else in the same general area. So the flights we've already booked to Venice still should be fine, but it'll be
same weekend at least, right?
Same weekend, yeah, same schedule, they said. And it's in the same general area. So I will have to cancel my hotel, although someone said I should wait until they actually confirm the new city before I cancel my other hotel. But me and a bunch of other athletes have already booked places in Cittadella, and now we're going to be maybe north in a hillier part of the area of the region, though. So it could be a much more challenging course, which I hope so, because I'll do better if there's more climbing in it than I think the original course was a lot flatter. So we're not sure where, but we know we'll be in Italy, and we're supposed to find out. We're supposed to make an announcement fairly soon. It was only in the last Monday or Tuesday that I think that UCI officially pulled it from the current promoter.
Right, but there's also another gravel World Championships that just took place
in Lincoln, Nebraska.
Where one of Taylor's teammates, John Borstel, got the win there, and Lauren Stevens won for the women. So that's it's interesting because before there was a UCI official one, a lot of people said, "Hey, that's the real World Championships." But my understanding from the people that were there is the competition wasn't as good as it was at SBT the week before. So it's maybe losing a little bit of its luster
in terms of a world championship. But Lauren Steven, yeah, I mean, she said that she was going to do more. She's done racing for the road for the year, looking for a contract for next year. Apparently, she had done a shorter version of this race before and won the 70-mile something race, but this was 145, and she did get the win there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and it was very hot. I guess it rained right at the beginning. It hadn't rained for a long time. It rained just at the very beginning of the race, and then
like 2.5 inches of rain in 2 hours.
Yep. And it was really hot the day before, and they said the temperature was supposed to break on Saturday and be cooler, but I think it still ended up being really hot, and so it was a challenging race from an environmental standpoint too.
Right. So, well, yeah, you've got plenty of gravel coming up. Like I said, we've got a few North America big races. This weekend is Labor Day weekend, and so it's this Maryland race on the 3rd. Matteo Jorgensen, Nielsen Paulus, a couple of the big U.S. names that will be there. And then the Quebec and Montreal races also brings a strong contingent of World Tour racers to that. And this weekend is also the Green Mountain Stage Race, where Taylor is going to be racing with his team in Vermont.
Yeah, yep. And I'll actually be in Atlanta for the One Love Century, so it's the biggest BIPOC century in the country. Sells out every year, and there's actually rides Thursday night, Friday morning, Saturday morning, Sunday morning, and Monday morning. Although I won't do the Monday morning one, I'll come back home after the Sunday ride, and then do the Tour de Apple, another ride with Kerry and Matthew. Yeah, and I'll be on the tandem with Matthew the next day too. So yeah, there'll be lots of riding all over the place for this weekend, including the Maryland race. Did also do the Deutschland Tour.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the Deutschland Tour.
Yeah, which was just finished recently, but Kevin Vermark got 6th there too.
Yeah, it was sitting 3rd for a couple of days. So he's continuing riding really well there.
Yeah, Brandon McNulty was there too. He was 12th. So we had a few Americans that were there. And the Maryland race, of course, too, is a chance for a couple teams to get American riders in their race too. So Corey Williams is going to race for Legion at the Maryland race. Justin Williams, that was going to be at the One Love Century. So I'll be riding with Justin Williams, one of the founders, and John Tomlinson, one of my old athletes from Triple X. I coached him for a lot of years. He and Justin used to race track back in their junior days. So I don't really know Justin very well. I've been at nationals when he was racing, but I was taking care of my own athletes, so I didn't really get to know him. But I plan on saying, "Hey, Justin, I used to race with John Tomlinson, and he's actually doing some kind of program on Friday night, so I'm gonna try and make that. I don't think I have any commitments for Friday night, so so he'll be racing there, or not racing, riding there.
He's a super nice guy, Justin.
Yeah,
and
then his brother Corey will be racing in Maryland. So,
all right, very good.
It is interesting though too. Also, Corey Davis, was also there in the Frankfurt Tour, and it is interesting too because Human Powered Health has a full team, and they're basically
could be the last race. Yeah.
Yeah, the riders are all able to look for other contracts and stuff too. So that has to be a little bit of a weird situation. Hagens-Berman Action as a team, so Michael Garrison, Cooper Johnson, and Artem Schmidt are going to be there too. But Project Echelon is an all-American roster too. Team Skyline will be there, and then there's a U.S. national team too. So Matteo Jorgensen.
Right, that's the one that Matteo Jorgensen headlining that team. All right.
Yeah, exactly. He's a big name. And Colby Simmons is on there too. Who's so a few people there too. But there's also a Canadian team too. The Toronto Hustle, all Canadian riders too. Right. So it's a good chance for these guys to race. With some of the best like Ciccoli. Yeah. Ciccoli's going to be there for Little Trek, and Tom Schoon's going to be there too, who's loves racing in the U.S. But Simon Yates will be there, of course. Lawson Craddock also too for Jake Coelho. These are on the start list right now. We have to see what happens, but yeah, we think so. And so there's Nielsen Paulus, who now is one of the biggest. I wonder where he's ranked right now. Can we look at that? But James Shaw is going to be there. Michael Woods, of course, because he's going to be at Canadian races too. It's a big deal for the U.S. I always feel bad I can't go to it because I'm at the One Love Century working for SRAM, so I do some consulting work for SRAM, and so I'll be at the One Love Century, which I love that event. I'm so happy to be able to be there. But it'd be nice if, and sometimes riders actually will leave after the Saturday ride to go up to Maryland to watch Maryland. But they also have a Grand Fondo too at the Maryland.
Yeah, if race finishes in Baltimore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nielsen's 22nd now on the PCS. list of.
Yeah, he was as high as about 6th or something earlier in the year, I think. So
Yeah, all top names ahead of him.
yeah. On the PCS, though, what about the UCI one? Can we tell that or not? Oh yeah, there's UCI World Ranking.
UCI individual.
16th. He's 16th, and he's 22nd on PCS. Yeah.
Yeah, 16th. All right. Well, let's do birthdays. Let's wrap this up. Episode 333 of the War and Cycling Podcast, and it's the 30th of August, 2023.
Almost into September. It's crazy.
Yeah, right. We're talking about events that are coming up this weekend, Memorial Day or Labor Day. Labor Day weekend, the beginning of September.
Yeah.
Kind of wrapping up the road season pretty soon. But looking at this list, no active riders are in the top 6 at all.
Well, the top guy is a 77-year-old Dutch rider.
Yeah, Jan van Katwijk. Katwijk is a town that's right on the coast.
So his last year as a pro was 78. So it's been a little while, but he raced for Ghan. He raced for but when it was in 1975, so not the Ghan that Le Mans raced for, but was it he raced for Raleigh?
Raleigh, yeah, 76. Yeah. So, but he did win some looks like one-day races in Ronde van Limburg. So maybe races that were in the Netherlands or
Umloop and Ledal. Yeah. So
he's also a stage of the Vuelta on Andalusia. So he has twice he was 5th on a stage of the Tour de France. So nothing super big, but a quality rider and
a sprinter. It's like so he was good
top of the list for this day of birthday cyclists celebrating their birthday on the 30th. I don't really see
any Americans. I wonder. I don't know.
Any big name. Well, the Adam Bergman is 43. Stuart McKnight, Brittany McConnell.
Bergman before. So.
Also, well, he would further down Kerry Miles.
Brody McDonald too. It was two McConnell.
Yeah,
Monique McConnell, and then Brody McDonald. So.
Right. All right. Well, that's a quick birthday list today.
Oh, Kerry Miles.
Happy birthday, Kerry.
Oh, speaking too, I mean, just Masters, Nationals happened too. Jamie Carney won. He didn't win the road race. Someone got off. Apparently, he was drilling it in every climb. He got second place in the road race. Someone got off and didn't beat him, but he did win the crit. So you have a lot of some of my former pro guys, winning some of these Masters races too. So Vinokurov won the World Championship in the Masters race, and then we have got Jamie Carney winning there too. And then Brendan Sullivan, who was never a big name pro as far as I know, but he's in my age group, and he won the time trial, the road race, and then got off the front of the crit and won that too. And then Kent Bostick won. He didn't do the time trial, but he won the road race and the crit. Kent Bostick, who's now pretty much recovered from his cancer, and he's a 70+ racer. So it's fun to see the guys who have been racing for a long time. And Ian Kent's a friend of mine now too. He lives in Tennessee, so we chatted up anytime we see each other.
I didn't check to see how the passenger I had who won the 65 to 69 last year's Nationals, and then he won the world, like another World Cup championship that's been held in Austria for many years, kind of an unofficial, kind of like the Lincoln, Nebraska gravel World Championships, right?
Well, maybe. So it's San Johan. I think it's probably the race he won. That used to be considered the World Championship, a one-day race before the UCI endorsed anything. But now the UCI endorses the Gran Fondo as the road race national championship for Masters. So yeah. It was not a climbing course for sure, but it did have a decent amount of climbing, rollers and stuff in it. And it was really hot. It was in the mid 90s to low 100s almost every day. And so, and then they had thunderstorms the last day. So I only did the time trial, and I was there for my athletes. So Kai Luan won his road race in the para race. And then I had a racer doing the time trial, and then the road race in the Masters. And then I left and did the gravel race on Saturday. Then Sunday I came home on Saturday, but then they still had crits, and they were affected by thunderstorms, lightning, and had to be adjusting the schedule to get around those races for sure. Those weather conditions.
But yeah, it was hot there too. I guess it's been hot everywhere, right?
Yeah. Hey, it was Danny Clark's birthday today too. I'm not sure which. Yeah. So anyway, Danny Clark from
When
Australia.
I pulled up the web page before, it was really easy to find results, and now I can't find them. Racing, of course, for Masters.
Masters, yeah.
They take down the banner.
Well, I went to an article. So if you go to USA Cycling, and then if you look at an article, they have then the link to the results from there. So that's how I found it. So they don't make it really easy because you think because you can look at previous national championships for the year, so you can look at that page, the national championship page, but then they don't have a link to the results on that page. So, but in general, USA Cycling's been doing better, I think, in terms of their social media presence and stuff too. But yeah, that just made it a little harder to see that for sure.
All right, so you hit the article, and then results. Here we go. Day 2. They put all the para results. Okay, road races. So it was Matt Tetrick that won the 65 to 69 this year. Yeah, Ken Bostic 70-74.
Yeah.
Ken Milne won the 75-79. 80-84, 85-89, 90-94. They've got a 90-94 Masters men's road race national champion, Frederick Schmid.
Yeah, Frederick Schmid. He's one guy. He's
90-94. That's fantastic.
Yeah, he's 90 plus. I think he's the only guy. They raced I think 70 plus altogether. But Fred Schmidt, he's a legend. He's been racing for.
He won the criterium too.
I think he's the only 90 plus guy. So I think he ends up there. Yeah. So I know that in the UCI World Championships, they used to say you had at least 5 guys, I think, to be able to award a jersey. But then one time, this guy was 100 plus years old, the same guy who held the hour record for 100 plus. And so he showed up, and they said, we have to give this guy a jersey. We have to make him world champion. So then at that point, they changed the rules to say that if there's just even one guy, they'll give it to you. So,
all right.
My friend Larry Nolan too, he won the crit, and he actually broke his collarbone, I think, at Manhattan Beach Grand Prix, which I was actually in California for that race, but I didn't do it.
He was second in the road race.
Second in the road race, and he won the crit. Yeah. But he I think he's like 5 weeks out of a broken collarbone, and he did not get it surgically repaired. It wasn't so bad that he had to have it, repaired. So he's riding on a 5 week old collarbone.
At that age.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It was Dirk Cowley who won last year's 65 to 69 in Albuquerque, and he won the race in St. Johann in Austria, the World Championship, but he got 15th. So he's probably tired because he just was flying back like a day or two before.
Yeah, and again,
it's hot and not as much climbing. He looked like a really good climber.
It's not a pure climber's course. And Albuquerque wasn't either, but there was a much steeper, longer, harder climb in Albuquerque than there was anywhere in Augusta. So a lot of people, had heat issues in Augusta and stuff like that too, but it certainly wasn't a climber's course. I mean, Larry Nolan got second in his race too, and that was because 2 guys got off the front and no one chased him with, I think, 3K to go. And so finally Larry went, and one guy blew up, and then Larry didn't catch the leader, but he's not a climber by any shape of the mind, and Kent Bostic is not either. So definitely not climbers. Yeah. And Kent said too. I mean, he used to be one of the world's best time trialists.
I just laugh because I could get you talking, and you can keep going forever and ever.
But Kent said he just has never gotten that power back for time trials. The longer power yet, since he's had his cancer. So
yeah. All right. Yeah. All right. Well, great talking to you and catching up, finding all the details about those Masters. All the other races. Let's talk again about the Vuelta. I'm going on another vacation, so I know you tease me. I'm always on vacation, but I'll try to keep up and see when we can talk again and talk about who won the Vuelta, the Maryland races, and whatever else is going on, and get you ready for your gravel worlds.
Yeah, and then I mean also too. So gravel nationals are a week from this weekend, and the next weekend is Grand Fondo Nationals. So I'll be doing nationals back to back in those too. So there was lots of stuff, both obviously at the Volta and with the Maryland and the Canadian races, but also domestic championships as well.
Excellent. All right. We'll talk to you again soon. Bye now.
All right. Thanks, team.